Forecast First, sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Good morning, everyone. We're seeing more of the clear skies again, and the air mass is heating up a little more. It's still comfortable, though, as you head out the door this morning. And today, even though we get back up more so into the 80s for highs, we're still going to keep the humidity levels relatively low. Now, the skies right now are clear enough that a lot of us have already hit the 70-degree mark for our current temperatures. Holding on to the 60s in Danville, I think we're going to see that number update here quickly and shortly in Paris, which is at 64 right now. Should be back closer to more the lower 70s down that way too. A look at your headlines for today. We expect that the skies will be fairly clear. We expect that the temperatures will be comfortably warm, and we expect no rain to be in place at all here today. But tomorrow, that's a bit of a different story. We do have rain chances arriving, and wouldn't be too concerned about them for the first part of the weekend, but second half of the weekend, they will continue to increase, and more of those rain chances on into next work week, where some storms will be in place along with the higher heat and humidity. We're going to talk more about that coming up in a bit. WCIA 3 News starts now.
And thanks for joining us this morning. I'm McLeod Hageman.
And I'm Christy Batista. We have a lot for you in the next hour of the morning show. We're having a good time on this Friday morning.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic Friday. Great weather. The weekend is so close for us. Not to rub it in or anything, but
I know. We're real close. Here's a look at your eye opener.
Decatur firefighters are working to learn why a home caught fire. A closer look at that damage.
Plus, Larry Williams is joining us again. He's making a tasty treat perfect for summer. We'll see what he's cooking a little bit later on.
And a dog's maternity photo shoot. Why it might be the cutest thing you'll see all day. Those stories and more right now.
You're watching your local news leader. This is The Morning Show on WCIA 3 News.
Developing this morning, an extensive search is underway, as authorities are trying to find two boys near Beardstown.
And the boys ages 12 and 15 were last seen playing in the shallow water of the Illinois River in Beardstown around 7:30 last night. We just got off the phone with family members this morning, and they're expressing their concern. That search started last night and was suspended when it got dark, but it has since picked back up for this morning. Authorities say they're waiting to release the boys' names at this time. Please stay with WCIA on air and online as we continue to follow this story. Well, a Champaign barbershop under scrutiny by the community members is now sitting empty.
Yeah, the shop was at the middle of the Black Lives Matter protest last month after workers required customers sign a written notice declaring that they were not members of BLM or Antifa. WCIA 3's Karina Rubio is live at Rogue Barber Company this morning with more. Good morning, Karina. What have you been seeing today?
Well, Christy, we drove by Rogue Barbershop early this morning, and that's when we noticed that their sign is still up, but there is nothing inside the business. You might remember that last month the owner announced he was going to make it a members-only club, but you couldn't be a member if you were a part of Black Lives Matter and other certain groups. People gathered outside the shop to protest. Someone who walked out of the barbershop got in his truck and drove through those protesters. I reached out to Rogue Barbershop earlier this morning to find out whether they are closing down or just opening up in a new location, but I have not gotten a response yet. Reporting live in Champaign, Karina Rubio, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
Well, Decatur firefighters are working to learn why a home caught fire.
Firefighters responded to the home in the 900 block of East Garfield Avenue. This is near Railroad Avenue. They posted this video to social media early this morning. We are working to learn whether any people or pets were home at the time, but stay with WCIA 3 on air and online as we continue to follow this story.
A deadly crash shuts down the interstate for 9 hours, and we're hearing from one of the first people to respond to that collision. 32-year-old Eric Irvin was killed and two others were hurt. That happened on I-72 near Argenta. That's where Irvin was pulled over to the side of the road when he was hit. And we first told you about this story on the morning show. Irvin was helping someone repair his truck. That's when another semi-driver ran into both of them, killing Irvin and injuring the two other people there. We spoke to Argenta Fire Chief Kurt Mitchner, and he was one of the first people to respond to that scene. He says this crash is just a reminder of the importance of the state's move over law.
It's just actually ridiculous that somebody can't take 15 or 30 seconds out of their day to pull over and slow down to a reasonable speed so that you could actually save somebody's life. I mean, it happens it happens every day in this state that people are just in too big a hurry and can't get over.
And the driver who caused that crash was ticketed for failing to yield to a stopped car and for not slowing down to avoid a crash. Scott's Law, or the Move Over Law, requires drivers to give enough space between them and someone who's pulled over. That means if you are passing someone, you should always move over to that left-hand lane instead and to slow down as well. A good rule of thumb is to drive the same speed you'd want someone else to use if they were passing you.
The Springfield City Council passed a new anti-racism resolution, but not without disagreements between city council members and the NAACP. The debate was not expected going into the meeting. The resolution is written by the city's 2 black aldermen, and it calls for mandatory anti-racism training for all city staff members. It mentions several racially driven events like the murder of George Floyd and the mass shooting at Charleston, but not the race riots that led to the creation of the NAACP.
Well, Governor Pritzker is planning to reform the state's entire juvenile justice system. He's moving away from large prison-like detention centers to smaller community-based operations. The current system can take young people from their families and send them to different corners of the state. 40% of those in juvenile centers from central Illinois are actually taken to either southern or northern Illinois to be held. Experts say that experience can make kids feel like there's no really other option for them.
Young people who had been affected by the system said in that context, too, that they felt like prison was something that society expected of them. When you're put in a congregate care setting that is very large like that, and you're incarcerated as a young person, you begin to develop that identity. And really, that's the last thing that any of us should want.
In the last 20 years, the state has already shut down 3 of those juvenile detention centers. The governor has not yet announced if the other 5 facilities would be closed or converted to use by the state. Well, it's a nerve-wracking time for parents wondering what their kids' education will look like this school year.
Yeah, families in Champaign got new details, learning all students will be starting the school year off at home. For parents, teachers, and students, this school year will be an adjustment, but with the switch to entirely virtual learning, some families are scrambling to figure out what to do. There are options for childcare, and La Petite Academy in Champaign is one of those options.
We are not elementary school teachers. We are early childhood educators. We are here to facilitate the logins and the staying on task. And in the meantime, also filling their days with activities that they can do and get outdoor play.
The Champaign YMCA is also structuring its care around remote learning.
Well, one school district is delivering meals to its students while they're learning remotely. Decatur schools will automatically start sending meals to registered students on August 17th. Parents have to opt out if they don't want to be part of the program. A meal opt-out form is available online. Meal delivery will be available as long as virtual learning continues. Grab-and-go meal pickups will not be available this fall.
New this morning, public health officials are announcing, 46 new COVID-19 cases in Sangamon County. This is just 2 shy of the highest single-day mark, and that was on July 29th. The total is now at nearly 1,200 people, with at least 34 of those cases being deadly. 7 people are currently in the hospital.
Also new this morning, the health department in Coles County says it's now under an orange warning. Orange warnings are part of the state's risk metrics. An orange warning means a county is not meeting its targets. Officials say indicators being used to determine status include new cases, test positivity, new deaths, ICU availability, among other factors.
Looking at the latest state numbers now on COVID-19, the average positivity rate for tests in Illinois over the past week went back up to 4% as the state announced another 1,900 new cases of the virus. There are 188,000 cases in all. 21 more people have died. Nearly 7,600 people have lost their lives in Illinois. All right, now that you're up to speed on the news, let's get to the weather.
It was a perfect week out there. And how's this weekend looking?
Yeah, purely perfect out there. Purely perfect. A lot of sunshine. It felt comfortable with the humidity down, and the temperatures weren't really that bad for us either. Now, they've been in the 70s the past few days. Today, though, we're going to get back up into the 80s, widespread 80s, as a matter of fact, with probably a lot more of the mid and upper 80s over the weekend. So today, still relatively comfortable, and a lot more of those clear clear skies to come, where you're going to see scenes like this a lot here throughout the day, which, looking at your Roofing Dog Guide and Weather Camera Network, no big worries about seeing any sort of widespread cloud coverage. I mean, we don't even see a single cloud in any of these views right here. Gibson City, Mattoon, Charleston, Champaign, all a good morning to every one of us here. Things are warming up, and we're starting to see those numbers now bounce back into the lower 70s, so we're already back up to those marks. And looking at Storm Tracker Doppler, what we have is high pressure now beginning to move its way farther east. What will happen throughout the course of the day? Winds that were coming more out of the northeast will start to shift more out of the southeast, and that warmer and more sticky air mass is going to start to creep back into the region. Only slightly so today. You're not going to notice a whole lot. A lot more noticeable heading into the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. That's when you're going to start to really feel the stickiness in the air, and I would say probably even more so heading into a Sunday. As far as the moisture, though, for the time being, it's well off to the west, and off towards the west, too. You have those temperatures that are more so in the lower 70s in Des Moines, Quincy, and in Columbia, but that's where we are, too. Around 70 degrees in Champaign, 71 in Springfield. Right now, it's 72 in Indianapolis, same number in South Bend, and warm spot on the map, actually, looks like the location that is farthest to the north right now, Chicago, sitting at 75. Your headlines today, we expect it to be another sunny afternoon. We're going to keep with that sunshine again heading on into the early part of tomorrow, but then small storm chances will begin to creep on in, and chances are going to be smaller on Saturday than they are on Sunday, but overall I would still say more just isolated chances in place here over the weekend. And beyond that, well, the heat and humidity, they continue to climb, and we could be talking about 90s as we start off early next work week. We're going to talk more about those details and have a complete look at your full forecast coming up later. Christy?
Thanks, Adam. It's time for trending now. We are talking about this guy, this gator here. Fanless football. Sorry, I was on two lines of the prompter. I was like, what is that word? Fanless football and a maternity photo shoot for a dog. First up, a close encounter with that gargantuan alligator. A Texas family is reeling after a dad had to pull his kids from the path of a 12-foot gator.
Wow.
Ironically, the guy's name is Andrew Grande. He says his kids were playing near a canal when the gator approached, and he quickly grabbed his daughter and got everyone behind a fence. He says that gator loomed nearby for half an hour. Authorities responded, and it took a team of people to pull the gator from the canal. Grande says it was nearly 12 feet long and weighed close to 600 pounds.
I don't know if I would be that brave if I saw a giant animal like that, but I guess if I were protecting my kids, that's understandable.
Yeah, and they look like they're little kids, too.
Right.
They are.
So I'm sure that could have been real bad.
Yeah, see, the things you don't have to worry about living here in Central Illinois.
Absolutely. I'll take it. I'll take the winter.
Check it out. Boy.
Take the winter over gators any day.
Any day.
I hear you there. All right, so one of the oldest NFL teams has announced their first two home games will have no fans. This is how the stands of Lambeau Field will look during the first two Packers home games this season. Empty. In an announcement, the team says it's keeping cheeseheads out to keep everyone inside. Safe from COVID-19. Fans also won't be allowed to tailgate or visit certain bars and restaurants associated with the field. The Packers are already closed, and they have closed their training sessions too, which normally has its fair share of fans. The team says it will reevaluate the situation ahead of its third home game on November 1st.
That'll be so strange when that happens. I know it probably won't be snowing for the first game, but later on in the season, when it starts snowing there, I wonder if they're going to go through and try to clear that out. I mean, there would be no reason for them to.
Yeah.
So.
True, yeah. No,
I know there's a lot of Bears fans sitting at home right now like, well, they're empty anyway.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for somebody to say
the Packers fans definitely devoted and true and faithful to the team. What I would have to say probably is the team is actually, I guess, owned by the city itself. It's not per se an owner like the rest of the teams in the U.S. But I wonder if that was something that was decided through the community too, and not just something that was just done by the management of the team. So,
Makes sense.
or they may have heard from their fans too. So yeah.
There you go. Well, an animal shelter in Michigan is posting a few pictures from a dog's maternity photo shoot. This one's for you, Christy.
I love it.
Yeah, her name is Jazz, and she's currently a resident of Saginaw County Animal Care and Control. Now, the shelter says her pups won't be up for adoption for quite a while, but once they're born, they will need their forever homes.
Puppy's coming in August, so 8 weeks-ish, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, looks like I might be getting a new dog.
We
Look
were
at
just
how cute.
we were just talking about this earlier. I think Lola needs a friend.
I always think Lola needs a friend, and then I think about the amount of work it takes to...
Yeah, puppies are a lot.
Yeah, they are.
Rupert was a lot of
We all
fun when
say
he
in
was
unison.
yeah, he was a lot of fun when he was little, but I don't know if I could go through that puppy phase.
So worth it, right?
I lost a lot of shoes. I lost a lot of shoes.
I had a lot of furniture that was slightly destroyed. Yeah, lot of teeth marks in my.
So easy to
coffee
forgive
tables.
them, though, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Too cute. Too cute.
I love it.
Well, still to come on the morning show, the dog days of summer are here, but that doesn't mean it's too late to learn a brand new recipe.
Yeah, Food Facts is coming up next. We'll see what we're making with Larry Williams. We'll be right back.